Welcome you all to Coffee Time with Madison Christine MC. Today I am drawn in this moment to talk about what's going on right now in this world and what can we do to find stillness in the middle of chaos. You guys, crisis is up like no one's business right now. The heat is on all levels, from the planet to our bodies, to everything. Illnesses are like never before. I know that there's so many people around me, probably 95% that are in some kind of crisis or some kind of stir up and grief and loss and etc. Okay, so I want to address this. I'm definitely part of who I am, and my essence is a crisis responder. And the way my soul came in to become one is to go through the crisis, to understand. Again, everyone has a different experience. Like, I personally know panic backwards and forwards. I know anxiety that made me feel like I was gonna die. I know terror really fucking well. I also know that there's certain coping mechanisms that will never touch certain heightened moments. So anyone listening who have been through it and they're like, I wish someone could understand, a lot of people will want to say there's something wrong with you when there is a trauma response about panic. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. So, and everyone has their way of dealing with it and finding your journey around it. I look back and I go, I get now why I went through that, because it's put me in a position to be able to help people, empower people, and just be a part of the energy around recovery of this from a very authentic place. And also to understand that there's no quick fix, because if we actually pretend that there is, it sets people up for more shame. So with all of this up, I will offer up some things that have been really profound for me. And also to add to that, if you're listening to this and you are in panic, or you're a lot of panic lately, meaning your anxiety is really high, maybe you wake up and you just feel like you're not getting the sleep, or you're having insomnia, or whatever it is, your heart's racing, all my fucking empathy, okay? And you can and you will get through this. There are ways and things that are needed in order for that. So it's really important, you guys, those of us that can really ground the energy right now, to really be stepping up our game and showing up in a way that brings calm to this world, that brings a strengthening and a grounding. Grounding is needed more than ever. Because if we're all freaking outside of our bodies and clinging on to things outside of us and on our phones all the time, and just in this constant rush for approval or whatever, it truly creates a panic in the energy field and in the world. And the hardest part is it takes you away from you, takes us away from ourselves. So and also no judgment wherever you're at, if you're addicted to your phone or whatever. This world has been set up in a way that addiction is just like popular and it's praised. So I'm not speaking in favor of that, but I'm also speaking in compassion of that. So I'll tell you what I do. Lately, I take more time to be still than ever before. I've noticed an exhaustion that will wave through. And I'll just, in the past, in my ego mind and when my nervous system was more rattled and I was talking faster and I was kind of like this, I'm sure we all know, we've all been there, right? My way of dealing with stress was just to keep stress. It's like you don't know that you were so stressed until you actually unstress. It's very interesting, right? Like, my voice has changed, everything has changed as my nervous system has calmed down. Like I said, it's a mastery. It's a mastery to get that skill, okay? It's deeper than a skill. So for me lately, like just today, I create a schedule where I know that there'll be certain times in my day that if I need to take half an hour in quiet, or I need to take a rest, I leave that. My psyche knows, my body knows that there is a landing and a resting point. Most of the time, sometimes not, but most of the time. And that has changed my life, that alone, choosing a schedule that fits me. not working for somebody. Now I know this stuff takes time, and everyone around me would have been, you can't do that as a therapist. You have to have insurance and you have to do this. And something deep in me was like, well, I'll be dead by the time if I actually choose that. So it's working as I've chosen to really understand energy and how energy works. And when we align and we connect to our true selves and we take quiet and all of that, we really are provided for, and we choose to resolve issues that are coming up. There is a grace that lands upon us. So that's my experience. And so getting still, for me, that means maybe sitting on my bed, sitting outside, and just getting quiet and checking in and tuning in. And then noticing, wow, perhaps I'm obsessing over a client that my ego mind's trying to figure out. Perhaps I'm getting really worried about someone who's sick, and I'll notice where I've left my body. I don't judge it, but then I'll bring it back in. I usually imagine this huge tree, this beautiful, like the trees in Tahoe. They're just these powerful trunks that go deep in their roots into the earth. I just imagine sinking into one and grounding, and then just releasing these people that I've hooked into, and knowing that they have their own journey. I'm not responsible to fix anyone's journey, neither are you. Even as a therapist, as a parent to a child, when we get over involved in anyone else's life, we actually, and I was reading this and it really validated what I already have experienced, we actually can end up with the consequence of their own family line and karmic line. So it's really important to honor each person and their journey, even if you disagree wholeheartedly. Because we all need our consequences to wake up in certain areas. You know, it's kind of like this example, and I just read this and I really like this example. It's like, let's say you know someone who's a drug addict or alcohol addict or whatever. Again, not judging it, but let's just say, and they got caught. A cop got them, and they're looking for you to bail them out. And you've seen them go through this a million times and not get caught. Bailing them out might be the worst thing you could do. Maybe you do, and then they end up killing someone the next freaking week or whatever. That ends up affecting everyone's energy. So it really is important to care enough. I love this line, you can care but don't carry, right? And even like I said, if we disagree with people's actions, really staying in our own lane and offering what we have in the moment and letting it go, right? Y'all know that you can have all this wisdom and tell someone, and you can be the freaking most powerful, compassionate being in the world, and they won't hear shit until they're ready, and until they get their experience and their consequence. So stillness, quietness, getting time away from devices, checking in when you are posting. What is it for? What is it for? Who is it for? Why are you doing it? No matter what, not just the phone, that can apply to anything. What's causing you to worry or hook into someone else that's actually ending up hurting you? And honestly, when we pull back, our stress calms down, and it actually really positively affects the other people around us. So I hope that was helpful, and I really appreciate you all being with me. If you're interested in one-on-one sessions, it's madisonchristine.net, and I'll meet you all on the flip.